We are live on Zoom and Instagram, which means that we are in a position to start our Monday workout. Make sure you've got a nice clear space. Make sure you've got your dumbbell or your kettlebell to hand. We are going to be having some swings in the program today. So you can do that with a dumbbell. Okay, it just requires a little bit more of a wider stance to get some clearance between the legs for the kettlebell, for your dumbbell. Alrighty, let's get nice and warm. We got a little bit of work in terms of hip hinge today, so we're going to want to make sure that our hips and lower back are nice and warm. So we're going to start our warm up on the floor this morning, and we're going to start with our arms out wide, and we're going to start with some lumbar rolls, just rolling the knees side to side, so our feet are about hip width apart. And I'm just rolling them side to side, trying to keep both shoulders and most of my lower back flat to the floor if I can. Once I've done 5 each way, we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to bring our knees up so that our shins are parallel to the floor. And again, I'm going to roll side to side, keeping my shoulders flat to the floor. Once I've got 5 each way, all I'm going to do then is come and roll over onto one side, bring my knees up level with my hips, one hand on top of the other, and then I'm going to open out through my thoracic spine instead. When I'm out in that position, I'm trying to keep both knees one on top of the other. Get a 5 on one side, roll yourself over, and get a 5 on the other. Beautiful. And you come into a 4-point position. Okay, so I'm in that tabletop position, hands under my shoulder, knees under my hips. What we're going to do from here is take one foot out directly to the side, so that foot lines up with the knee that's underneath the body, and we're just going to bring our hands forward. We're going to shift our weight backwards and forwards to open up that hip on that extended leg side. And you notice that when I'm rocking back, my hands are quite a long way in front of my shoulders so that I can load through here and get some load through my adductor and the front of the hip capsule. We want 10 on one side, and then I come back under and I switch foot level with the knee, rocking backwards and forwards, sliding my hands out a little bit so I can get forward on that load. Nice. Trying to move nice and freely. Once we've finished, return to that position, plant your feet into the floor, come up into the top of a press up, making sure I've got good control of the pelvis. What we're going to do from here is step one foot up towards the hand, making sure that my back leg is out nice and straight. And I'm going to take the hand that's nearest the foot off the floor and rotate my chest in towards the front knee. Come back, reach underneath the body. Get 5 good rotations on one side, making sure I'm turning the chest rather than just flapping my arm around. Once I've had 5 on one side, I'm going to return to the press up position, bring up the other foot close to the hand. It doesn't have to come all the way up level with the hand, but we do want to make sure that the foot stays flat to the floor however far forward I'm bringing it. Reach underneath the body, turn and open, get 5 on this side. Lovely stuff, good. Back down to hands and knees. Just give the shoulders a little bit of a breather before we hit some press ups. And with the press up, what we're going to do on the first 2 is start with a down dog. A slight bend in the knees, drop the heels to the floor, push the floor away, rock back through. press up, and again, hold the down dog for a second or two, rock through the press up position, hit the press up. What we're going to do this time with the down dog is opposite hand reach through towards the opposite foot, return back and press, same on the other side, loading through that arm, really pushing the floor away, reach through towards the knee, the shin or the ankle, hand down and press. Beautiful, drop to the knees and we'll come up onto our feet. When we're up on our feet, we're just going to hit some lunges. We're going to step into a lateral lunge, reaching down towards the foot with the opposite hand. So we're going to reach in here, notice the rotation of my body, and I come back up to standing. You want 5 reps. Awesome, same on the other side now. So whichever leg I'm stepping up with, I make sure that my toes stay forward and that I'm reaching and compressing, getting a little bit of rotation through the torso and push in one movement back to standing. I need 5 reps. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, grab a little drink. Okay, we're going to separate some work to start with this morning and then we're going to put it all together in a little bit of a flow. Okay? So we're going to start with some single arm swings. Now, we've done double arm swings before, okay? You're going to want to have your feet set a little bit wider than squat width so the kettlebell or the dumbbell's got room to come through. We want to make sure that we're starting, if we're doing it with the kettlebell, that we're starting with the weight slightly out in front. I've got soft knees, I'm going to hinge over, sending my hips backwards, hand to the weight, and then I'm going to, as I lift it off the floor, it's going to swing back in towards my center of gravity. As it swings back in, I'm going to drive my hips forward and send the weight down. My arm's going to stay relaxed because of the force that I've driven from my hips. So I stand up tall, squeezing my glutes, keeping my feet flat to the floor. Now, because the weight's in one arm, we are going to see a slight rotation of the body, and that's completely fine. That's going to help you stay balanced, okay? So what it'll look like, front on. Notice that that shoulder comes around. I'm not trying to stay completely straight because it's going to hit the side of my leg. I want the weight to come in central, so my shoulder has to come around to line up. And we're going to get 6 swings on one side, quick change over, and 6 on the other. Now with a dumbbell, because you're going to have to hold it by the handle, it's going to mean you're going to need to be a little bit more squatted, so a little bit more knee bend, but we still want to see predominantly a hip movement, okay? All right. Here we go, 6 on each side. We start in 3, 2, 1, away we go. Keeping the back nice and flat. Once I've done my 6, quick change over. Keeping the feet flat to the floor. And remember, with that swing, the weight doesn't need to come up any more than parallel to the floor, okay? We're not swinging all the way overhead, we're not doing a snatch. Good stuff. Little rest. We're going to do this next set side on, okay? When we start in about 25 seconds or so. $15 seconds. So just good quality, okay? We're breaking this down into its component parts so that we can really focus on the quality to start with. 5 seconds. I swing in a good stance, far enough away from the kettlebell, so I hinge and reach. 3, 2, 1, good grip, pull it in, drive it out. My arms relaxed, powering forwards to the hip. And then I change sides, making sure I allow that rotation, so you see my body turning towards the camera a bit. And you always see the weight appearing behind me, so I know that I've got a good hinge, and I've let the weight come all the way into my hips to be able to power it through and in front. Good job. Set 3 is coming in about 30 seconds. Good. So remember, arms should be relaxed, strong grip, everything else relaxed. 3, 2, 1, away we go. Hinge over, good grab of the weight, and away we go. Making sure that I stay balanced through my feet, so I can produce the power through my hip. Good. The weight is pulling you around. It's important that you think about a weight transfer, that I need to be not sitting too far back into my heels when the weight's between my legs, because the weight's going to change where my centre of gravity is, so my weight needs to be through the middle of my foot here, and as I drive out and the weight's way in front of the centre of gravity, it changes where my centre of gravity is, so I need to be back into my heels a bit more to offset where the weight is. Okay? Midfoot, heel, midfoot, heel, and that will help us stay balanced. 10 seconds, one more set. Here it comes, in 3, 2, 1, good set position, reaching forward, pull it in, drive it out. So you'll notice that the weight isn't coming any higher than about shoulder level. My arm is pretty relaxed and it's out there. And the weight's not dictating my body position at all. Lovely stuff, well done. Catch your breath, wipe your hands. So next, we're going to do a little hang clean. So it's very much going to be like a swing. Okay, but now with that swing, we're going to pull the weight, turn it over and catch it in that front rack position. 6 on one side, 6 on the other. We start in 10 seconds. So the angle of the swing is going to change slightly now, okay? In 3, 2, 1. Exactly the same startup, I pull it in, but now I'm focusing on catching right in that position. And change sides. So the essence of the swing is exactly the same, but I pull my elbow high and then turn it over. Good stuff, well done. Beautiful. So it's really important now, guys, that as I drive out, I'm not letting the weight get too far away to turn it over, because it will come back in and hit my body. As I kick out, I'm changing the vector of my elbow to keep the weight nice and close so that it turns over and I absorb it rather than it flipping over high and dropping and crashing. With a dumbbell, it's very, very different again, but I want to turn rotate that shoulder around so that my shoulder meets the weight rather than the weight crashing down on my shoulder. Okay? We go again in 10 seconds. 5. Good set stance. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Pull it in. So if I let it go too high, I won't get the turnover. So I've really got to think about pulling my hand to my shoulder. And then changing sides. So I pull my hand to my shoulder, elbow drops, and I've got the weight supported by my forearm. And then the mechanics of the swing are the same as we had previously. When I'm catching here, I'm lowering that weight and catching it safely in and around my hips. Good job, guys. Plenty of rest time, because the heart rate's starting to rise a bit now. Good stuff. Okay, we got another 2 sets to go. And we're running these on about every 90 seconds, so we've got plenty of time to get through the swings, okay? For anything like me, you can make sure that your hands are dry and start bringing some chalk to the sessions. 5 seconds. Good set stance. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. Pull it in and clean. So you'll notice that my body position is not massively being affected by the load. I'm not having to drop too far under and thinking about getting the weight to my shoulder and my hand and kettlebell stop at the same time. Good. Very nicely done. So remembering that there's a little bit of body English to make sure the weight stays central to my body. When I drive out, I need to see a straightening of the leg to change the movement from horizontal to vertical. Elbow comes up, hand, as the kettlebell turns over, my hand reaches the shoulder so that the weight doesn't slam onto my arm. Okay, it's a skill we need to learn and develop. We're 15 seconds away from doing one more set. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, last set. Here we go. And we switch sides. Weight doesn't need to touch the floor. Making sure my hand reaches the shoulder. So I'm almost getting a pause here rather than just bumping. I want to make sure it's in that front rack position because of what's coming next. But the good news is we get some rest. Okay, let's rest. Lovely stuff, well done. Okay, good news. That's our swings done. We got some squats next. Okay, but the squats are going to be offset. So we've got one swing to get the weight back up into that front rack position. Then you're going to set your feet into a good squat position, and we're going to hit 6 squats with a load on one side. Bring it down, change over, and then get 6 squats with the weight on the other side. And we start in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand on, draw it in, clean it up. Once it's up in that position, I get my 6 squats. keeping the feet flat to the floor. Once I've done my 6, bring it down, transition as we did before, up on the other side, elbows nice and high to support the load. Noticing that everything's nicely lined up at the bottom of the squat, the core's tight to dictate where the load's going, then lower down and rest. Good. Catch the breath. Nice, so in that squat, our depth is dictated by our strength and mobility. Okay, so the strength to be able to get out of the bottom of the squat, the mobility to not round or be out of position. So the height of my squat is going to be dictated by all of those things. Set 2 is coming in just over 10 seconds. I'm going to go side on for this set so you can catch how I'm going to hit depth. 5 seconds. Assume your squat position, ready for the swing. 3, 2, 1. Kick it up and away we go. So depending on the depth of your squat, we might only be here, but we want all of your usable range in that squat, and then we change sides. Feet stay flat to the floor. Think about my weight distribution so I stay balanced. I'm controlling the squat. And then down the rest. Excellent stuff. Catch a drink in between. With the weight on one side, if I can't control what's going on through the trunk, we'll find that we end up shifting or rotating to offset that load. There will be a little bit of that, there has to be to stabilize. But we want to try and keep equal load through the legs as much as possible. You might feel the sense of moving and shifting with the weight. In terms of how it looks, it needs to look as normal and as balanced as possible, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. Kick the weight up and we squat. Feet stay flat to the floor, knees follow the toes. Full range, whatever your range is. Once we're done, we lower down and we change. As we finish the set, we lower to the hips and then we swing it out to where we started. That's 3 sets down, 1 to go. Really lovely stuff, guys. One more set in 30 seconds time. So nice and controlled. Stay balanced. Balance is key to being able to produce the force that we need. So we have to be stable, which means moving at a speed that you can control things. 5 seconds, one more set. 3, 2, 1. I hinge at the hip, hand on, draw it in, clean it up. You notice with my spare arm, I'm using that as a little bit of a stabilizer to offset the load. If I keep it in close, it means more work for the trunk. I'm not letting the weight dictate my body position at all. Good. Stay nice and tight. And we're done. slightly longer rest time now, right? We've got nearly 2 minutes of rest now. Because what we're going to do when we restart is we're going to do 3 reps of each exercise on one side, then hit the other. So what it'll look like, it'll be 3 swings, 3 cleans. Once we've done 3 cleans, we got 6 squats as normal, okay? All together, so 3, 3, 6. Switch sides, 3, 3, 6, then we get to rest. And we've got just over a minute before we start. There's plenty of time to get the work done. So make sure if you need to after the one arm, you can return the weight out, change it over for the swings there rather than just doing a quick changeover, okay? So you can have a few seconds to recompose yourself in between. 45 seconds before we start. Good. So even though we're combining it all now, we don't want a sense of having to rush through it. Okay? Your heart rate's going to elevate because we're putting all of the reps together. Obviously from a grip perspective, I've halved the number of swings. Our legs can probably tolerate the load in the squats though, okay? Okay, 15 seconds. 3 swings, 3 cleans, 6 squats, all on one side. Here we go. 5 seconds. I'm getting my weight set, I'm getting my body set. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So swings, 3. Into cleans. I'm controlling. Once I've hit my 3, make sure my feet are where I want them for the squats. Once I've done my 6, I'm going to return that weight to the ground, change sides, 3 swings. Trying to stay relaxed where I can and tight and stable where I need to be. So I'm controlling every rep. Once I've finished, lower that weight back to my start position. Awesome. We're going every 2 minutes. So if I'm controlling this, I'm going to get about a minute of rest on each side. All right? Good stuff. Only 4 sets to go now. 3 sets to go. Getting ahead of myself. 40 seconds away. Just remember to keep things under control. See, if you're working with a lighter load and therefore moving faster, you can probably, and grip's not a problem, you can probably keep the number, those total number of reps in, okay? The 6, 6, 6. If you are going with a slightly heavier one to hit the legs more, then just stick with 3 and 3, okay? 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good start position. Put it in, drive it forwards. Power in from the hips, and then thinking about how I get my elbow and knees to dictate that clean, and then I squat for 6 reps. Full depth and full extension at the top. Really conscious stand. Once I finish my 6, lower down, hand out, and change. Back stays nice and flat. 3 swings. Notice the power coming from my hips. And then thinking about how I get the load up. Good. Tight the core. Nice. Good job. 2 sets in the tank. About a minute to go before we hit set number 3. So with the squat, remember, we don't want the weight too far back into the heel so your toes come off the floor. We don't want the weight too far into the toe so your heel comes off the floor. Balance is crucial. In fact, balance is crucial all the way through here, guys, okay? 2 more sets. Number 3 starts in just under 30 seconds. Actually, 15 seconds. So remember, draw that weight in and a big power forward from the hips, okay? Express that power without being off balance. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So I've had my 3, I change into the clean, I get my 3rd clean, get my squat, stance sorted. Hit my 6 reps, weight down, pop it out in front, nice relaxed changeover, 3 swings, 3 cleans, making sure I bring my hand to the shoulder, don't let the weight float, and then I squat. Awesome stuff. Get my reps in, return the weight safely. 1 more round. Awesome stuff, controlling the breathing in between rounds. Last round coming up. Hands are definitely sweating a bit now, needing to dry them off in between rounds. Okay guys, just over 30 seconds left. "20 seconds. Last round. Make sure the weight's where you want it to be. Think about the stance we're going to use. 10 seconds. Dry those hands off. Last round. Make it a good one. Think about maintaining the quality. 3, 2, 1. Hinge over. Take hold of the weight. Draw it in. Power it forwards. Should always be a moment at the top of that swing where the weight feels weightless. There's nothing in your hand. Oh, don't put the weight down once it's up there. Get your 3 cleans in and then squat. Once I'm done, I lower down, change sides. Powering through, relaxing the arm at the top of the swing, but not my grip. Don't relax your grip. Once you've got your 3 in, and you've got your 3 cleans, 6 squats, and we're done. Beautiful. Lower to the deck. And we're done. Awesome stuff. Get the weight out of the way. Have a little walk around. Catch your breath. Have a drink. Shake your hands out. It's a bit grippy, that workout this morning. Nice short and sharp little start to the day. Obviously if you're picking this up at a bit later in the day and you're not so time constrained before work, we did 4 sets of everything today. You could extend it out to like an hour of work and do 5 sets, we did 6 sets of everything, okay? The swings were much quicker, so the rolling clock or the rest time was a little bit shorter. Once we got into the squats, we had 6 on each side. We extended that time out a little bit, and then we went on 2-minute rolling clock for the flow of linking everything together. Okay, let's just start by getting into the forearms, guys. Okay, so arm out straight, palm facing away from you, fingers down, and just draw those fingers back. We want to feel a nice stretch through the wrist flexors, okay, into our forearm. And just Just controlling the breathing. But well done today. Being able to link these together is great from a conditioning perspective. Change arms. Okay, we don't need to be drawing back to the point where we're up on our toes. Alright, just until we feel some lengthening here. Taking your time. Everything should be relaxed when we're stretching, okay? Shouldn't feel like we have to tighten or tense or hold our breath. We want the tissue to be accepting of the load. Good stuff, and we're just going to get into the glutes now, okay? So let's come down into our hands and knees position. Good, okay. So what we're going to do here is, we're going to take one leg straight back, out behind us, okay? And then what we're going to do with the knee that's still underneath the body, is I'm going to rotate the foot up and try and bring it up underneath my hips, almost like it's going to come up level with my armpit. It probably won't come that high. What we're going to do from there then is we're just going to sit the weight back into the hip, alright? So I'll show you side on. One leg out straight, the front leg then rotates, and I'm just sitting the weight back. Alright, you might get to a point where you get both hips down to the floor, but what we don't want to see with that is you shifting over to the side and then opening up the body. I want to keep that back hip pinned forwards. I'm trying to sit the hip down towards the floor without turning and opening the body. Okay? And I can do that by moving on and off. My right hip's definitely tighter, but as I spend some time and I'm dynamically moving, the hip capsule's allowing me to get down into a better position, trying to keep my entire pelvis facing forwards and down towards the floor. Excellent, nice and slowly, use the back leg to just push yourself forward. Then we're going to change sides on that. Okay, so I now take that leg back out straight, rotate on the knee to bring that foot up underneath the body, and then I'm just going to sit the weight back, sliding it back as far as is possible. And remember, I don't want my pelvis to open to get my hip to the floor. If I can't get my hip down, keeping that hip pulled over, then that's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work that hip down to the floor. As soon as I feel that my body's rotating and my pelvis is starting to open and lift on that back leg side, that's as far as I go. And you can play around here with keeping the torso low to the ground like I'm doing right now. I'm putting compression through the front hip, but I can also lift up and try and open that back hip as well. As long as I'm not feeling too much load through my lower back, I want to be lifting and opening through the pelvis and the hip, rather than seeing my belly button pop forwards and my rib cage open. Okay, so to do that well, I can only come through to about here. I can get more upright, but now I'm loading through my lower back more than I would like. Good guys, nice and slowly use that back leg to push yourself forwards up into a kneeling position. And we are done for today. Have a great day, guys.